Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very special program where we are celebrating academic excellence across our district. I'm Rachel Winnick, and I'm honored to be introducing this conversation with our Superintendent of Schools, Michael Citta. Tonight, we're joined by an inspiring group of students, this year's Valedictorians from our 3 high schools, class of 2025. So, without further ado, I'll pass it over to Superintendent Citta.
Morning. Thank you, Rachel. How are you guys doing? All right. Well, I think we're going to start by introducing ourselves to everybody. We have our best and our brightest from our 3 high schools here with us this morning. We're going to get to know you and hopefully maybe share some of your stories and some of our aspiring learners and educators that are underneath you as role models can find out possibly how one day they could be sitting in this chair and having the opportunities that you guys have and you're going towards. So why don't you introduce yourself? Toms River High School South.
I'm Grace Rhine from Toms River High School South, best high school.
I'm Dante Kanterezhi-Gatto from the home of the Raiders, Toms River High School East.
I'm Erin Misa from North.
All right, Erin, Grace, Dante, welcome. Congratulations on all the hard work that you guys put in to put yourselves in this situation where you represent the graduating class of 2025. It's a pretty remarkable feat to be sitting here, top of the class, and here we are 2 weeks to the day away from the big day, graduation day. I'm sure a lot of you have already been working on your speeches a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, you've been working on that speech?
Yeah, it's done.
It's done?
Yeah.
All right. What were some of the things that you I don't want you to share your speech, but, you know, in the reflection, what were some of the key things that you wanted to bring out in that speech to share with your class and your families as they recognize you next in 2 Tuesdays from now?
I just said to think back on our time in North because it was fun, so just kind of remember that.
All right, Dante.
I kind of started focusing on the savoring each moment that we have left, and I sort of working backwards from kindergarten throughout middle school, high school, how we got to where we are today, and then I really wanted to integrate that into how we all have something within us. So I spoke about how being valedictorian is just a title and how we all have it in us to achieve whatever we set our minds to.
Fantastic. Dante. Grace.
I'm talking a little bit about the legacy of South and how each student is going to carry that on through their life. I think it's extra special for me as I'm carrying on Josh's legacy from last year of being valedictorian. It's a very hard speech to follow, so I'm definitely a little nervous and putting those finishing touches on there because he had a very good speech. And
That's right. I was there. It was fantastic.
Big shoes to fill.
Yep. Well, Grace, you certainly achieved all the things that you did on your own, and I'm sure the mark that you all leaving on your school is extremely impressive. But, Dante, you bring up a good point, the journey, and I think that's what I kind of want to talk a little bit about today, and I know Rachel's interested in hearing about some of that journey as she aspires to be a senior next year and has that path in front of her. But everyone in this district, it's a remarkable place to grow up and be a part of. My family goes well back to the 1600s, actually, in Toms River, believe it or not. The founding families in Toms River on my mother's side. And for over 150 years, our school district has been intact in some way, shape, or form. I think, Grace, we're 135th graduating class at Toms River High School South. You guys hit 50 last year, and East, you're right behind it. So, we're growing these traditions across town, and we have this crazy dynamic where the 6th largest district in the state of New Jersey, right, with almost 15,000 students, and we have 12 elementary schools, and they're all in these little communities inside the towns that you live in, or in the towns that are sending into our district for our regional district, and they have their own little story, and you start that pride, right? You start that pride, whether it be as a pirate in North Dover. Erin, where'd you go? Citta School. So Seahawk?
Yeah.
The Seahawks, right? And Dante?
Silver Bay
Seagulls. Grace?
Washington
Street Warriors. So you start those prides in those schools, and then you morph them into your middle school, and you start to build that family and that collectiveness together, and then you sit here and you talk about, the best school, and the best school, and you're all right, for all the right reasons. But what did you gain out of that? Those different stages. What did you I'm interested. What helped you develop that foundation to create, the intellect, the input, the work ethic? Because just becoming valedictorian doesn't just happen because you get good grades, and it's really a collective family input, right? So Dante, tell me a little bit about Silver Bay and what you brought from there and how that journey ended up in this seat today.
Yeah, so Silver Bay was definitely, in my opinion, a very supportive school. The staff was, all of my teachers really wanted, I felt like I had a one-on-one open door policy with them if I ever had any issues. And that was just from like elementary school, like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, moving up. I always felt like I could just go to my teachers, talk with them about anything that I wanted to. And with that, I also had very supportive parents. And so I feel like those two things combined through earlier primary education was really helpful, because something that my parents instilled in me is that we would always vacation to different locations across the country. I think we've been to like 25 states.
Wow.
And every place that we go, we've turned it into a learning experience. So if we're exploring a national park, look at the trees, or how are the animals interacting with each other. And I feel like that's been culminated, and I was able to really bring that into my elementary school experience as well at Silver Bay. We talked about when we were outside on recess, and we were there was like a woods area, and so we'd go on like a trail, and it was sort of like, it was all a culmination throughout elementary school. And then moving into middle school, I feel like when COVID hit in 7th grade, that was like the big turning point in my brain to be more like academically focused, because I felt like that was one of the things I could really control at the time, because there was a lot obviously that could not be controlled. And so I feel like that was really one of the big key turning points where I was like, okay, I can control my academics, I can work hard, study a lot, and that was sort of the thing that I held on to, trying to yield that. And then I was able to get one of the valedictorians in 8th grade, and then I tried to just keep going through high school.
So that became a goal of yours from that moment on?
Yeah, 7th grade.
So you would say that 7th grade, that's where you said, okay, I have a chance academically to reach this pinnacle. Was that similar to you, Erin? When did you see yourself at the top of your class, and it's something that you wanted to strive for?
It was never really something I was like going for, but like I also just kind of tried to work hard on every test, so I guess it just kind of led to it.
Okay. When you were a Citta Seahawk, right, and you were roaming those halls over there, was it Mr. Gatto was your principal?
Yeah.
Back then? Yeah?
I'm proud of it.
And talk about some of the relationships with the peers. Are you like your classmates? Are they lifelong friends that you developed there? Do you find yourself expanding that group and the influence maybe some of those friends had on your journey?
No, I got really lucky because all of my friends from Citta are still some of my best friends now, so we still hang out and see them every day in school, so we're all still close.
They supportive of all the things that you're doing, and I'm sure you're supportive of them as well?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Grace, Washington Street.
Washington Street's a great place. And I think for me, the journey is more about growth. So being such a large school district, but our elementary schools are pretty small. Washington Street had like 300 kids, and I feel like you're very close with all the people in your class, and you have like a very personal relationship with your teachers, and that like helps cultivate your like desire for learning and knowledge at a young age, at least for me. And then when you move on to middle school, everything seems huge and big, and so like that continues to transition up to high school. And then I feel like when you get to high school, like it is big, but it's still like you can reintegrate into your own community. So for me, I did actually, similar to Erin, like I went back to some of my friends from elementary school, which was really awesome. But we also like got to grow and do our own things and grow into the people that we are now. And then we found each other again, which I think like the school sizes and the teachers and everything like expanding, giving us more responsibilities and everything like that as we get older really helped me. That's
awesome. Grace, you mentioned Josh before and family.
Yes.
You know, family and Dante mentioned that too. You know, family is a big component. You know, when we talk about education, you talk about the three pinnacles or points of that triangle. You know, of the home, the school, the teachers and the staff, and the student, of course, and all working in concert. And obviously, the more you do that, the better chance of success you have. Now, there's certain individuals that are going to succeed no matter what. that triangle does, and that just proves to the inner strength. But certainly, when all those things work in concert with each other, it makes it a lot smoother. What has that meant to you, Grace, and how's your family influenced you in some of the decisions that you make or some of your choices of study?
I think because my family has always believed in me since the beginning. Since like when I was really young, they taught me how to read at a very young age, and I just loved reading. So I feel like that was part of like when I started to realize like I was an academic, because I would be up in the middle of the night with the flashlight reading, and it was just so special to me. And I could talk about, like, Josh is a similar age to me, we could like the same things. Like my dog's named Harry Potter after the character from a book, so it really, like, all those books resonated with me, and I felt like I could go into like a different world and experience that. And then as I've grown over, my parents like have continued to always believe in me. Like no matter what my goal was, they always made it happen, not just in school but outside. I know my schedule is always insane, and they make it work. So if I have to be in like 3 places at practically the same time, they've helped me make it work, and because of that I'm able to succeed as much as I have, and I'm just really grateful.
Absolutely blessed. Dante?
Yeah, definitely. I think I totally resonate with having my parents supportive of me since the early stages, and I feel like that was definitely instrumental in helping me develop, being able to go to them if I had any challenges I was facing, and they would be able to share their knowledge of experiences they had similarly. And when you were talking about like activities, I remember like coming into high school, my biggest thing was, can I do cross country and marching band at the same time? How am I going to make this possible? And my parents were like, yeah, well, we'll drive you from the cross country meet. I got to the practice for marching band, and then I would get to the cross country pasta party afterwards. And so they were just there for me the whole time, from the moment I was born until I feel like now I'm still here, and I'm really grateful for them to have helped me through this journey.
Obviously extremely proud. Erin, talk just a little bit about the home and how that's helped shape you.
My parents have always been really supportive and helped me out in school, but I feel like they're also good because they make sure to ground me. They've definitely like called me a nerd or something, but they're still like, they always come to my sports games. Like if I'm up studying, like they'll make me food or something like that. But my twin brother too, like we're pretty competitive, so we're always fighting to do better than each other.
Okay. So. And where's your brother? Don't tell me he's number 2 in the class.
No, not quite. But he's smart.
Oh, I'm sure
we push each other to do better.
That's great. What's it like being a twin?
It's awesome because everything that we do, it's not like we do it together, like we're like the same person, but like we both have our strengths. So it's fun.
That's nice having that sibling with you the whole time, right there. Help, and there is something with those sibling rivalries and the competitiveness that is healthy, right? And that gets you. So, tell me about maybe the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you in high school over the last 4 years of this year. Can you talk to me about something that, just so people know that you're not just, the perfect top of the pyramid student. There's some things that have, if you don't want to say embarrassing, then maybe a setback.
Setback.
You want somebody have something that they want to share?
I can go.
All right, go ahead, Grace.
I'm actually kind of glad to talk about this because I feel like it's something that not a lot of people like realize, because like your whole life you're told that if you work really hard and you do like what you're supposed to, then when it comes time to be a senior and you're applying for college, everything's going to work out just the way you expect it. You're going to get into the schools that you want and things like that. And I found out this year that is not true. So it's not that, I think things do work out the way that they're supposed to.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely not always what you expect. So people generally look at me and they're like, oh, why don't you go to Harvard? Why don't you go to like these really good schools? But then I did apply to I applied to Princeton, which is where Dante is going, which is awesome, by the way. But and they didn't accept me, and at first that was like really difficult because I was like just shocked, because I was like, all these things that you've done, it feels like you're being stabbed in the back for a second. Yeah. But at the same time, I think those things help you grow, and that isn't where you're meant to go, but it's a good thing for like younger people to learn, and parents especially, because they know it's not a failure necessarily. It's just that's not where you were meant to be.
Not at all, Grace. And there is certainly, Princeton's regret is Florida's gain, because I know you're going to be a Gator.
Yes.
And that's a fantastic school in its own right, and I'm sure, that there is nothing to hang your head about. And you're absolutely right. I think life has its way of helping shape your path, and it's the hard work and the grit that gets you to where you need to be. So you talked a little bit about colleges, right? Erin, where are you headed?
Clemson.
Clemson. All right.
Yeah.
Tigers. Okay. And what drove you to Clemson? What was that?
Oh, when I toured it was just so nice. It was awesome. And like the people there seem so great.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll enjoy it.
And the course of study that you're pursuing at Clemson?
Well, I want to major in biomedical engineering and minor in physics.
Okay. Dante, Princeton. And what studying path are you taking at Princeton?
I'm majoring in environmental engineering and minoring in theater.
Wow. There you go. Let's see. And then again, juggling both ends of that spectrum, right? Keeping yourself grounded. Fantastic. Grace, when you get to Florida, what are we doing?
I'm majoring in finance with a minor in Spanish.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. So maybe international studies in the future?
I'd like to go to law school. I want to be a lawyer, but like a lot of people in our community, I feel like, speak Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always seen like them not being able to communicate with other people. So I thought maybe like pro bono work is something that I could do with people who don't speak English. So that's kind of why I picked that.
Community. Tom's River. Tom's River has been special to all of us for a long time for a lot of different reasons, right? One of the things that I always like to preach as we're trying to provide this education here and support of all of you and our students is, we don't want to help you pursue your dreams. We want you to be the best versions of yourselves, and hopefully someday want to come back here and replant your roots in this great community. I mean, and that's what makes Tom's River unique and special. You talked about, just the language because of where you live here. Do you see yourself coming back and expanding in Tom's River, or do you feel like you're leaving the door open to wherever life takes you?
I do see myself coming back here. I'm not opposed to planting my roots somewhere else, but at the same time, like, my family has been in Tom's River for a while. My grandmother went to North, which we don't talk about that, but both my parents went to South. They met there, so I feel like it runs in the family, and I think continuing the tradition would be great. But at the same time, if Florida or Tennessee or something else is where I'm going to land, I'm definitely have an open mind to it.
Okay. Dante?
I don't really know, to be honest.
All right.
I kind of just take it one day at a time, and I'll just see where my future takes me. I don't know.
I'll probably stay around here because all of my family's around here. Like my grandparents, they all he taught at North, so I'll probably stay around here.
Fantastic. It's funny. I tell my story because I in my family, grew up obviously in Tom's River a long time, and most of my extended family went through the original Tom's River High School and Tom's River South, and then I was proud to be a principal of Tom's River South for a little bit, but I'm actually a North graduate in 1993 and taught at North for quite some time, and then I was an assistant principal at North before I took a journey in other experiences in administration. But for a long time I didn't think that there was anything else that was more important in Tom's River when it came to schools than being a Mariner and having that pride and going through the athletics and doing all those things there. And then when your kids grow and they go into a different school, and then at South, and then you take on that family, and just from the 60-foot view, it's really a proud feeling to look at all three of you and all three schools, and obviously I have some ties to High School East because I was the principal at Hooper for 8 years, and a lot of the students like behind the camera and are Hooper Huskies, and just continue to make us all proud. And the three of you have done nothing short than just making this district, this school community, our family, extremely proud of the legacy that you're leaving in your buildings. And we can't wait to see what your next chapters and your classmates' next chapters are. How about questions for each other?
I want to read on that. How do you do so much around the school? Like, it's actually crazy.
I mean, I have my planner, my phone calendar, and then my notes app, and all three of those are working continuously to keep my schedule balanced. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I work best when I'm doing the most things, and I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I
like,
feel the same way.
in October, even though it's, for me, usually October is like the month of mayhem. That's what I call it. It's like craziness. But I feel like I get my best grades in October because I'm working all of these different things. And I feel like in the future, I hope I can balance a bunch of different things, because I just feel like I work best. I don't know why my mind just works best with doing so many different things.
No, I do feel the same way. I feel like I do the best work when I'm under a lot of pressure. So I like give myself like 30 minutes of time. I'm like, I have 30 minutes and this homework has to be done, whatever it is. Like, I have to be done with each thing on a very specific time frame. Then procrastination just no longer exists, because if you procrastinate, it's not getting done. So that's just not an option anymore. So I feel like being really busy, you learn how to be efficient, and you learn how to do things well and under like a very pressure, like specific time frame. So I totally agree. If you have too much time, maybe you like sit back and you're like, oh, I don't have to do this yet because like it's not due, I don't have time later, and that's just not how I operate.
Erin, don't sell yourself short. I mean, how many?
You definitely do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give me a list of what you're involved in at High School North right
I got
now.
a little bit going on.
Go ahead, tell everybody a little bit about what you got going on in High School North. Go ahead.
I've played a couple sports throughout the year.
Yes, which are?
Sports.
Soccer, swim, and then lacrosse.
See, that's a lot more than me.
Yeah.
I'm in a couple clubs, and then I also play soccer for PDA throughout the year.
Okay. Yeah,
Wow.
which is a full-time job in itself, right? Is Clemson soccer in the future, or?
Not. I definitely want to play club.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I mean that's the great thing about these big universities that you guys are going to. There's so many different opportunities, and coming from big schools with opportunities that should hopefully set you up for some success. So, I hear out of your questions is and I translate it a little bit because and it's great advice, Grace. Procrastination is something that you need to get rid of in life, right? So I mean that's probably helped all of you achieve what you've achieved. Is you don't sit around and wait something to happen for you. You go out and you get it, right? You go out and you make it happen, and that's intestinal fortitude, and that is definitely a character trait that everybody should try to take little bits of and not be nervous, right? Because failure only leads to success, and I'm sure all of us have failed at something, probably a lot more than we'd like to, but it helps define who we are. Well, here we are, Rachel. We're finishing up. Rachel, do you have any questions that you have for some of these guys?
Yes, I do have a question. So what's just like one piece of advice that you would give to any underclassmen? Like, because going in as a freshman is hard and you see all these clubs and you want to get involved, but what's like the best piece of advice that you would give if you want if someone's trying to navigate their way to maybe be a valedictorian one day?
I just say believe in yourself. I was always taught, like, believe in yourself even when no one else does. So if you think that you can do something, if you think you can balance a travel sport and a school sport and academics at the same time, then you can do it. But if you let other people's, like, ideas of what you can do define you, then you're not going to be able to succeed. But if you believe in yourself, then other people will start to believe in you too, and you can conquer the world. Truly believe that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I believe, like, if you just, like, it's almost like fake it till you make it.
Exactly. That's how it works.
So, like, it's just like you manifest it and you got it. And what about you, Dante?
I feel like my main thing is don't let your challenges define you, because I feel like there's been a lot of roadblocks I've run into personally, family, academically, and trying to navigate them, you have to first try and find a support system, at least one person. Identify at least one person in your life who will be there for you as a support system, because that person's really going to be there to cheer you on, and I feel like that's essential. And then the second thing is just, like Grace said, never stop believing in yourself, because once you really realize that you are able to navigate it on your own and that you have someone there to support you, it's sort of like that philosophy that it's like that one time that you're finally recognized for something, you finally have that ability to believe in yourself and be like, wow, yeah, I can really accomplish this. And the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, is just staying very organized. You mentioned not procrastinating. I feel like that's definitely something important. If something is due in a week, I personally get it done the day of, and then I don't have to worry about it in a week. Okay. So try and not procrastinate it, and try to just do what you love and start. High school is a time for you to discover who you are, and there's going to be a lot more of that once you get into the college setting as well, but try and just navigate that through, just be like open mindset. Whatever happens, I'm just going to come to it with a positive mindset, open mindset.
Yeah, that's great. It all comes down to confidence. And about the procrastination thing, like that's a great piece of advice. It might be cliche, but it's so easy to get caught up in the procrastination because I always think I have so much time, but you really don't. And it's hard. And that planner, I love that planner. I have a planner too. It's the best. And what about you?
I would just say to work hard because I feel like even if you're struggling with something, if you like put time into it, you'll figure it out.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Um,
Yeah, that's all I have.
Fantastic. Well, listen, it was a pleasure sitting down with everybody here. Does anybody have any questions for your school district or maybe advice on something that we didn't or we could do better for our kids that, through your challenges and the things that you discovered? You guys experienced a lot, especially in middle school with that gap and COVID. And obviously, we all learned on the fly on how to deal with those situations. And obviously, looking back, we would probably do things a lot differently. But anything you want to share with me or questions you have before we end our time here?
I don't really have any suggestions.
No.
I think you're doing a great job.
Oh.
I know that we have a lot of challenges to deal with as a district, and I feel like we're just doing our best, which is all I personally can ask for.
Thank you, Grace. Dante?
I agree.
All right. Good. Well, listen, that takes me off the hot seat and keeps you guys on it. But, from all of us at Toms River Regional Schools, we couldn't be more proud of the individuals that you are and the classes that you represent. And we can't wait to celebrate with you. All right? So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All right. Thank you.